This short video is presented to enable you to best utilise an iPad to help meet literacy needs in Aberdeenshire schools. There is a wealth of information available on using the iPad to meet literacy needs. Knowing where to source information and apps to assist your practice, planning and preparation is vital. This video will aim to signpost this information. You will be shown how to use some inbuilt accessibility settings in the iPad operating system to aid all learners. Utilising a few productivity apps can enable you to create and then work between an iPad and Windows device. Using OneDrive to marry up the iPad and Windows device in school will enable you to print work if a hard copy is required. Other useful apps will be mentioned. Finally, a mention of Glow and certain useful tiles added to your Launchpad to inform your practice in meeting literacy needs to get it right for every child. There are numerous apps available for supporting reading and writing, which are increasing in both quantity and complexity. Much time can be wasted by ploughing through information on the web to find helpful resources, websites or apps. These sites will signpost useful information to inform your teaching. In addition, some sites can be utilised to trace worthwhile educational apps to meet the needs of your learner. Here are the URL addresses for the sites mentioned. This information is correct as at September 2016 and will be shown again at the end of this video. The following is a quote from the Call Scotland resource, iPads for Communication, Access, Literacy and Learning. The iPad offers a range of benefits for learners with literacy difficulties, such as dyslexia. However, there are also limitations to what the iPad can offer in terms of adapting or fine-tuning its global features, such as background, font colour, and font styles of the operating system. While the built-in accessibility features in the iPad offer some adaptations such as white on black or large text, they are better suited to a user with a visual impairment rather than someone with dyslexia. Nevertheless, there are other built-in benefits that the iPad has to offer, such as speak selection. The following is a demonstration of how built-in iOS accessibility settings in iOS 9 can benefit pupils with literacy difficulties.
Apple's accessibility functions are improving with each new release. This demo is using iOS version 9.3. You'll see my screen probably looks different from your screen. I have various apps on my home page. You will be aware that if you press on an app, it will jiggle and you can move that app around the home screen, or indeed you can move it to another screen if you wish to. Putting one app on top of the other will allow you to put things into folders. So for example, my Kidogo keyboard, you might want to add that to the SuperKeys keyboard and have a folder which is labelled keyboards. I'm going to press the home button to stop these apps from jiggling. Siri is a useful tool which can be used in your classroom. If I go into settings, which is the cogwheel on my screen, and within settings I am in general. Within general, if you click on Siri, and you will see that I have turned the Siri option on. I have not turned on allow Hey Siri. If you turn on Hey Siri, it will train Hey Siri to a particular voice, and if your iPad is being used by many pupils, it probably would be ill-advised to train Hey Siri to one voice. The language is set for English United Kingdom, but there are others. And Siri voice is currently set to British Male. So I've done all the setup within the general section, Siri section. I'm now going to show how it could be useful in the classroom. So I'll click on Home. Holding down the Home button will activate Siri, and we can ask Siri a few questions. What is 5 times 5?
25.
What is 25 plus 2?
The answer is 27.
What is the square root of 27?
Let me have a look. The answer is approximately 5.19615.
Open OneDrive. So you can see that there are a variety of uses for Siri within your classroom. Other useful features in the Settings app. So I'm just going to click on Settings once again from my home screen, and it probably will default to General. And if we have a look this time at Accessibility, so at the top of the screen you'll see that there are various choices. There's Vision, moving down, Interaction, and so on. If I look at one or two things on this screen, so I can invert colours. Inverting colours will change your iPad, which may assist people with visual impairments. And I can also dabble with speech. So if I click on speech, you'll see that on my screen, Speak Selection has been turned on, and Speak Screen has also been turned on. There are choices with voices. So if we look at the English section, at the moment the Siri voice is defaulting to a female Siri, but you can change that. Speaking rate can be modified.
Speak selection reads selected content.
Faster,
Speak selection reads selected content.
slower,
Speak selection reads selected content.
and in the middle. Quite useful. So on the screen I have switched on Speak Selection, and I've switched on Speak Screen. So let me demonstrate how that can be beneficial. So I'm going to go into Safari, and within Safari I'm going to go into a website. So I'm going to search for something to do with volcanoes. And probably the easiest thing to do is to go into Wikipedia. Move this zoom lens out of the way. So with speech turned on, there are two things that I can do. If I press and hold, that will give me handles, and if I stretch those handles over the text, you'll see that there's an option above the highlighted text to speak.
rigid tectonic plates that float on the hotter, softer layer in its mantle. 1. Therefore, on Earth, volcanoes are generally found where tech.
I pause that. So that's speaking a selection of text. Speaking screen requires a two-finger gesture. So two fingers pull down from the top of your screen.
The language, volcano. This article is about the geological feature. For other uses, see volcano, disambiguation, and volcanic, disambiguation. For a broader coverage related to this topic, see volcanism, Cleveland volcano, in the Aleutian Islands.
Obviously the voice can be speeded up,
The International Space Station, May 2006.
slowed down,
Ash plumes reach the height of
using
19
the tortoise and the hare,
12 me
and
during the
paused.
climate.
So examples of how you could use speak selection by hovering your finger on a word, extending the size of the handles, and then pressing the speak button, or speak screen using the two fingers to pull down from the top of your screen, and you will then get the speak screen options. If we have a look at this particular page within Wikipedia, you'll see that beside the actual URL address line there is an icon which looks like the left justification that would have appeared in a Windows device. Some pages in Safari enable you to strip out the extra content and make it more of a reader view. On the right hand side of the URL line you'll see the A, larger A, and by tapping on that you can choose a variety of background colours. There are 4 to choose from at the moment. You can increase the size of your text by pressing on the larger A or the smaller A to reduce, and you can choose a different font style from the selection. These features may help pupils who struggle to read the text on your screen. Only certain websites have this option, and you'll see it at the left hand side and the right hand side of the URL. Another feature that's useful within the Settings app is guided access. So I'm going to click on Settings and it will automatically default to General, and again I want to go into Accessibility. So within Accessibility, if you scroll up you will see Guided Access. It's under the Learning section, Guided Access. So I'm going to click on Guided Access, and you'll see from my screen that I have already turned the Guided Access feature on. You'll also see that there's an option to set a passcode. There's an option to set time limits, and this last bit, Accessibility Shortcut, is also in your screen. Guided Access is a feature that will enable you to lock a pupil into a particular app if you wish for a particular length of time. So it would solve the problem of pupils dabbling in apps that they shouldn't be interfering with when they're working on a piece of work, or indeed if a pupil has a physical difficulty and they find it difficult to navigate around the screen and keep on pressing buttons which take them out of the app, you could set Guided Access to lock them in that particular app. So I've set Guided Access on. I'm going to set a passcode setting. I would advise you when you're setting a passcode setting in your school to decide on a suitable passcode which everybody in your staff is aware of, perhaps the first 4 digits of your school's phone number, for example. By doing that, if you have an iPad in your class where a colleague has already set up Guided Access, then you will know what the passcode would be. So I'm going to set a passcode, set guided access passcode, and I'm going to choose a number and then repeat that number. That's the passcode set. Go back a step. Time limit. I'm going to set a time limit, and I'm going to make sure that when the time limit is up, I actually have a sound to show me that the time limit is up. So I've set Aurora. I would always advise you to turn accessibility shortcut on within guided access. This enables the teacher to triple click to start guided access and to triple click to stop guided access. So I would always advise you to switch on accessibility shortcuts. So I'm going to demonstrate guided access back into my home screen. So if I go into a particular app, I am going to go into Safari. And in order to start guided access, I triple click the home button. 1, 2, 3. The guided access screen has come up, and within there at the bottom right hand side I can set a time limit. So I'm going to go on to time limit, and I'm going to set the time limit on by pressing the slider, and I'm going to choose the time limit of, we'll just go for 20 seconds for ease. Obviously within your classroom you would set the time limit to something more feasible. To start the guided access, I'm going to press the start button at the top right hand side. Now I am locked in this app. Even if I press the home button, I cannot get out of that app. It's telling me that guided access is on. By the looks of things, I have set guided access to 20 minutes rather than 20 seconds, so it's on for a considerable period of time. I can work within this app, but I cannot get out of the application. If you as a teacher want to get out of this app, triple click 1, 2, 3, enter the passcode, and then at the top left hand side you can end guided access. And now if I press my home button, I can come out of that application. Using guided access, very useful in the classroom situation.
Consider the following when using an iPad for productivity. As default, when work is saved using an app, it is saved directly into the iPad within that app, or the most suitable app. For example, Book Creator saves into Apple's iBook app. If the iPad is being used as a one-pupil device, it would be advisable to link that pupil's Glow account details to OneDrive. Linking an app to the pupil's Glow account can be done for many productivity apps, for example Word. This linkage can force the iPad to save work to the pupil's OneDrive account. Subsequently, the pupil could access their work via OneDrive on another device. This work could now be printed if required. Any pupil could link an app to their Glow account, but it is essential that they log out once finished. Please beware. Failure to log out once complete means the next person accessing that iPad will be able to view, edit and delete all of the previous pupil's work within their OneDrive account.
Within an iPad, it's possible to use the power of Glow and a variety of productivity apps. If the iPad is being used by one particular person, you can link certain productivity apps to that person's OneDrive account. On my screen at the moment, I have Safari loaded and I have the home page, the logon page to Glow. It would be helpful to have that on my home screen, so I can make a tile of glow. At the top right hand side of my screen there is an icon that looks like a square with an arrow pointing upwards. If I press on that icon, I have the choice to add this to my home screen, the add button. So I'm going to add this particular page to my home screen. The tile will look purple and it has the word glow in it. So I'm going to press add. Now if I search on my iPad, there we have the glow tile. I'm going to press and hold, it'll jiggle, and I'm going to move it to the side and pop it onto my home screen. Pressing the home button stops the icons from jiggling. So let's log into Glow. Putting in my username and password. So there's my details put in. I'm now going to sign in. And that will bring me to my Glow Launchpad. So I'm happy with that. I'm now going to press the home button and I'm going to fire up Microsoft Word. And you'll see that I have actually already linked myself into Microsoft Word. So at the top, I've logged on my details of Microsoft Word. I'm going to log off and show you how I did that. So I'm going to launch that app again. And I'm going to press sign in. And this time it's going to ask me for my Glow email address. So the full Glow email address is required. Bit of a cumbersome process, I'm afraid, because it then asks you to sign in again. And I've now signed in. So my information, anything I type on this iPad, is actually under my name. The second part of the equation really is to be able to show you the store of the information on the iPad, and you would store your information on your OneDrive account. So it is OneDrive, not OneDrive for Business. So again, I'm going to log into OneDrive. I need to log into OneDrive with the whole of my email address. And again, unfortunately, it takes you to another sign-in page, so more signing is required. Thankfully, when you sign in, at the top, you do not need to put in your full Glow email address, just the abbreviated form. And now I'm going to press sign in. So I now have on my screen within OneDrive my store of information. Technically what this now means is I can produce something in Word, and if I save it, it should save to my OneDrive account. I could then leave the iPad, log into a classroom computer and print out my work from OneDrive. So hopefully that will happen. We'll try and demonstrate that. Back into Word, create a blank document, type up some information on this document. So there's some information I've typed in. And then to save that document, I would press on the following. So I'm now going to save this document by clicking on the icon that has the page in the corner turned down. You'll see that autosave is turned on. That means it will save automatically to the iPad, but I don't want to do this in this instance. I'm going to turn autosave off. And if I press the save option, it should allow me to name the document. going to save that as OneDrive trial, and I'm going to save it to my OneDrive account. I can actually save it to various folders, you'll see those on the right hand side, but I'm just going to save it straight to the OneDrive account. So hopefully that's worked. I'm going to come out of Word, go into OneDrive, and if they sync, there we go. On the left hand side of the screen, OneDrive trial, you'll see that that document is there for me to use. So by hooking OneDrive into my Glow account and Word into my Glow account, I have saved a Word file into my OneDrive space, and I now can use any computer to open up OneDrive and print that document. Please beware, however, if this device is not a dedicated pupil device, then you need to log out. So to do that within OneDrive, clicked on Me at the bottom, and I'm going to sign out of this. Okay. And then back to Word. And if I press the back button at the top left hand side, click on my initials at the top left hand side, click on my Glow details and sign out. It's imperative, if this is a shared device, that the pupils sign out when they are finished using these productivity apps.
If an iPad is used by one person and that one person is print disabled, i.e. cannot access the printed copy of a book due to an additional support need, for example physical difficulty, visual impairment, dyslexia, then Books for All is a site which contains thousands of digitised books in PDF format. These include curricular materials such as Heinemann Maths and novels such as Private Peaceful. Books can be downloaded for a print disabled pupil only. Via Safari, log into Books for All using a teacher's Glow details. Note, only teachers can download these books for their students. Please beware, this should only be done if the iPad is being used by one pupil only, as downloading a book for a print disabled pupil, which can then be viewed by several pupils on a shared device, would be in breach of copyright. PDF files can be read on an iPad using Claro PDF app as a text-to-speech engine. Some annotations are also possible using Claro PDF app. Side by Side is currently a free app. This enables the iPad screen to be split to allow you to view several screens at once. This may be beneficial for those with organisational or working memory difficulties.
Using Books for All is an option on an iPad, but please beware, if this is a shared device, you will be in breach of copyright if you download something from Books for All onto this device. Books for All exists for the print disabled person. That could infer that they have dyslexia or perhaps a physical disability or a visual impairment, and they find it difficult to access the printed word on a printed book. Any books that are downloaded onto this device must be only for a print disabled child. So to download something from Books for All, now going into Safari, and I've gone into Books for All, and you'll see near the top of my screen there is an option to log in with Glow. So I'm going to press that. So that's me logged into Books for All via Glow. Now all I need to do is to search for a particular book. So I'm going to search for Private Peaceful. There are a variety of books that have been thrown up for Private Peaceful, so you can choose which one best suits the needs of the pupil, and I will click on one of these ones and download it. When it downloads, you'll see very briefly at the top of the book, there were two options came up there. One says open in, and the other one says open in iBooks. I'm not going to open it in iBooks in this instance. I'm actually going to open it in a different package, and I'm going to choose to open it in Claro PDF. So I'll click on Claro PDF. There we go, there's my book. And the reason I opened it in Claro PDF is at the bottom of that app you'll see that there is a text-to-speech option.
Page 7. 5 past 10. They're gone now and I am alone at lab.
So there we go. A book downloaded from Books for All for use by a print-disabled child. Please note that only a teacher's Glow details can download a book from Books for All, and please also remember that it must just be for the consumption of the print-disabled child. If it is used by other children, then that is in breach of copyright.
Some other useful apps can help with mind mapping, organisation, and other practicalities of accessing the curriculum. Poplet is the simplest tool to capture and organise your ideas. With Poplet, you can quickly jot down your ideas and sort them visually. Inspiration, a powerful visual learning app on the iPad. Build diagrams, graphic organisers, and outlines with ease. OneNote. Capture your thoughts, discoveries and ideas with OneNote, your very own digital notebook. Notability. Students can use Notability daily to take notes, sketch ideas, annotate PDFs, mark up photos, record lessons and more. Kidogo is an iPad keyboard with word prediction designed for children and young students. The keyboard provides a simplified layout with just the essential keys so early writers can focus on developing their skills rather than being distracted by symbols and functions they don't yet need. Featuring lowercase letters and optional colour-coded vowels, this keyboard can be used in any app as an alternative to the standard iOS keyboard. VoiceStream Reader is an app that reads articles, documents and books out loud. With advanced text-to-speech and a highly configurable visual layout, it can be tailored to suit every reading style and level.
You can add a variety of keyboards to the iPad, and one that I would recommend is Kidogo Plus, which is a child-friendly keyboard and also has the predictor running across the top. There is a Kidogo version. It does not have the predictor. It is cheaper, but it does not have the predictor. So I want to actually add the Kidogo printer to my keyboards, and to do that I'm going to go into Settings, and within Settings, General, and if I scroll up I'll come to Keyboard. I'm going to click on Keyboard, and at the moment I have 4 different keyboards added, and if I click on that number 4 and I want to add a new keyboard, it's said to me that Kidogo is a keyboard, and it would appear that I have to press one of these buttons, so the nearest one would have to be English US, and I'm going to say done. That keyboard has been added. I'm going to come out of Settings by pressing the Home button, and then if I go into Word, just for demonstration purposes, creating a new document, by default the iOS keyboard will come onto the screen, but if I press the globe icon at the bottom of my screen, it will scroll through the other options for keyboards. ABC will take me out of that particular keyboard. That's the read-write keyboard. That's a keyboard called Super Keys, which is beneficial for pupils with physical difficulties as it chunks the letters. But the one I'm after is Kidogo. There we go. There's my keyboard there, quite child friendly, has the vowels highlighted. And if I go into 1, 2, 3, I will find the settings cog, and I can change certain bits and bobs. At the moment it's displaying the open dyslexia theme. And I could go for a colourful keyboard. The word prediction is on, and I can set how many words I want to be predicted. So I'm going to go for 7. And if I go back to ABC, you'll see that across the top I now have 7 levels of prediction. Obviously the more prediction you put on, the smaller the prediction becomes. That's how you add a keyboard to your iOS device, and this particular keyboard is called Kidogo.
Glow can be accessed from an iPad and is also a useful store of resources. Many tiles can be added to your Glow Launchpad to provide you with information to help meet literacy needs in your school. 2 examples of tiles have been given in the form of Addressing Dyslexia Toolkit and Aspects Glow tile. Digital resources created by you for pupils can be uploaded and shared through Glow. This method should ensure that pupils have access to their digital resources at home too and on any device. A student can access their files by using the iPad and the OneDrive app. If they have logged onto their Glow Scotland SharePoint account via OneDrive, they must always log off when finished, especially if the iPad used is a shared school device. Please beware of good housekeeping and logging out of apps to avoid pupils viewing, changing or deleting work of another when using a shared iPad. You can log on to Glow on an iPad in the same way that you would log on to Glow on your Windows device. When you're in Glow, we would recommend that you add 2 tiles to your Launchpad in the form of the Addressing Dyslexia Toolkit and also the Aspects tile. The Aspects tile can be found in the Aberdeenshire section, and you would simply click on the top left hand corner and add to your Launchpad. And the Dyslexia Toolkit will probably be found in the Scotland section, and you could add it to your Launchpad in the same way. So if we have a look at the Aspects tile, within the Aspects tile you've got 3 sections that you might want to explore. If I draw your attention to the training and the CLPL section, within that there are many training videos which may be useful for meeting the needs of the dyslexic learner. Guide to Books for All, using technology that you already have to support literacy, etc. So that was within the yellow training and CLPL tile. And within the meeting the needs of your learner, if we go into literacy, and then if we drill down a wee bit further and go into apps, you'll find that there are a variety of apps listed in a PDF file, which give you apps that we have been made aware of as we've travelled the length and breadth of Aberdeenshire. So various apps used in a variety of schools or apps that we think would be useful. So another list for you to have a look at. So that was within meeting the needs of your learners, literacy and apps. And within addressing the dyslexia toolkit, a wealth of information on a variety of categories. But if you go specifically to intervention support strategies including technology, you'll find that there is a section on the use of ICT for children with literacy difficulties, and it speaks about mobile devices as well. So a lot of information for you to have a look at within Glow. Here we go, tablets and iPads and Android devices. Remember, in the same way as you would do if you were using a Windows device, it is good practice that if you log into your RM Unify page, your Glow page, then you must sign out. If you fail to do this on an iPad, the chances are that the next person who uses that shared device, they will be able to access the previous person's Glow account. So you must get the children, the pupils, to sign out if they log into Glow. So here's a look at some of the resources that were indicated in the earlier slide. The first one is from Call Scotland, and you can download their very informative book, iPad for Communication, Access, Literacy and Learning. So it is free to download, and when you download it, this is what you get. And just a flavour of what is in this booklet. If we have a look at the index section, you'll see that there's been a lot of time spent by Craig Milne in Call Scotland on a variety of different aspects of the iPad. A huge wealth of information in that particular book, including some useful apps for literacy. Other sites signposted, again back to Call Scotland. On that particular link, there are a variety of posters which can be downloaded to give you indication of apps that could be used. Not only in the iPad, obviously Android devices too. So here we have a wheel of apps, iPads for learners with dyslexia. And that's particularly useful as it chunks it into sections. So you might want apps to do with reading or memory or mind mapping, for example. And you'll find a list of apps on this wheel. Some of the resources on that particular page. Hurstwood training, very useful for your own personal training point of view. There are actually courses free of charge. iPads for beginners, the iPad settings, accessibility options, etc. So a useful place to go if you're unsure on how to operate the iPad and get the best from it. And as it says, there's around 7 hours of training. It's all free. I think it was actually based on iOS 7. We're currently at 9, moving towards iOS 10, but a lot of it is still pertinent. So that's Hurstwood Trainings. British Dyslexia Association. Lots of links to a variety of topics. A useful way to find apps that could be worthwhile using. That's the British Dyslexia Association. Spectronics, in this particular address, you can download Spectronic apps for literacy, and that's free again. And once you've done that, this is what it looks like. A wealth of information on a variety of apps that could be useful for literacy needs. Some paid for, some free. You'll see that it's mention of Claro PDF there, which is the PDF reader. There is a light version of that app available too. So that was the Spectronics address. App Crawler, spelt C-R-A-W-L-R. App Crawler is one of these sites whereby you can find out apps for a variety of topics. You might find the App Crawler is blocked in your school, but certainly it's available at home, and you can go into the various sections, find out the apps that they are suggesting. And there's further sections along the right hand side there. So that's App Crawler. App Ed Review, a similar app to App Crawler, but you can actually stipulate the types of apps that you're looking for. So you can say which subject you're looking for, and you can say, for example, what price you're looking for. Is it free apps that you're looking for? And it will filter it down to give you some apps that could be relevant to the topic that you are looking to teach. So that's App Ed Review. So this was a site that was mentioned, I think, in the Call Scotland book. If not, it's just something that I have stumbled upon. And it actually gives you links to app review sites. So again, another wealth of information. I think there are 12 different sites that it springboards you to. Fun educational apps, next one. So again, it's giving you a variety of apps that you could find useful. And again, at the top, subjects that you could choose from. And Common Sense Education, I think that was previously called Graphite, perhaps. And if we have a look here, again, you can browse by subject. If we go into maths, for example, and it will suggest some apps available to you. Again, you can put it into categories, age related. So a few addresses, web addresses that you could look to in order to enhance your ability to use the iPad or to find resources that meet the needs of your learner.